She had everything the 80s worship: beauty that stopped traffic, a voice that dripped honey over synthesizers, and a name that promised exactly what it delivered. But by the time Denise Matthews became Vanity, she'd already been abandoned on a doorstep, beaten for hours by her father, and learned that survival sometimes means becoming someone you'll spend the rest of your life trying to forget. This is the story of a woman who climbed to the top of the music world in lingerie and left it all behind for Jesus, only to discover that some poisons take decades to finish their work. If you love uncovering hidden legends like this, don't forget to like and subscribe to Legends Underrated, and tell me in the comments, where in the world are you watching from? Niagara Falls, Ontario, January 4th, 1959. A baby girl is born to Helga Senik, a Polish Jewish woman who crossed an ocean to escape one kind of hell, and Levia James Matthews, an African-American man whose love would curdle into violence. They name her Denise Katrina Matthews, one of three sisters, Patricia and Renee, who would grow up watching their father's fists teach them what men could be capable of. From the time Denise was a toddler, her mother noticed something unusual. The girl would stand before mirrors with a brush in her tiny hand, studying her reflection as if preparing for a performance that hadn't been written yet. At 4 years old, her mother left her on someone's doorstep because a new boyfriend didn't want a mixed-race child cluttering his future. At 5, after her mother finally brought her to her father, Denise told him she wanted to be an actress and build a church for Jesus. The spiritual and the secular, already at war in her child's mind. But James Matthews had no interest in nurturing dreams. He was a violent alcoholic who created instruments of punishment, beating his daughter for hours while she tried to hide the bruises from classmates who already bullied her for being shy, for being different, for being mixed in a world that preferred its categories clean. She told Jet magazine in 1993 that her father's abuse caused a negative self-image that lasted 15 years. She said she wished she could see him in heaven, but she wouldn't because he was in hell. In 1974, when Denise was 15, her father died. She watched her mother fall deeper into depression and alcoholism, the grief mixing with relief in ways that made it impossible to know which tears meant what. Denise ran away from home multiple times, searching for something that felt less like survival and more like living. Then something shifted. High school. Her beauty, which had been a target, became a currency. Boys wanted her but hid it because she was mixed, and that rejection cut deeper than any punch her father ever landed, so she changed schools. At 17, in 1977, she won Miss Niagara Hospitality, and the applause felt like vindication. The next year, she competed for Miss Canada, but didn't win. It didn't matter. She'd already decided that modeling would be her escape route from a place that felt like a cage. She moved to New York City, signed with Zoli Model Agency, and discovered that at 5'6", she was too short for runways, but perfect for commercials and photo shoots. She went to Japan to model. She appeared on album covers. She landed small roles in horror movies like Terror Train and the B-movie Tanya's Island, billed as D. Winters, because Denise Matthews didn't sound like someone who could be a star. But she wasn't a singer. She knew it. Everyone knew it. And yet, she told her manager she wanted to be in the music business anyway. January 1982, the American Music Awards. The night that would reshape her life like a sculptor with a cruel sense of humor. Reports conflict. Some say she attended with Rick James. Others say her manager gave her a ticket and she went, alone. Either way, she was there when Prince's manager approached and said Prince wanted her to take him to the bathroom. She refused, but Prince followed her around the room, and then he made a strange request. He wanted to exchange jackets with her. They swapped clothes and realized they were the same size, like two halves of something that shouldn't exist. The next day, they went on a double date with Morris Day, and just like that, Denise Matthews entered Prince's orbit. And in that orbit, no one stayed who they were. Prince had been wanting to create an all-female group for years, a vision of sex and synth-pop wrapped in lingerie and attitude. He tried with a trio called The Hookers, Jamie Shoup, and sisters Laureen and Susan Moonsey, but it fell apart. When he met Denise, he saw the final piece. He wanted to name her Vagina, pronounced Vagina. She said no. So he settled on Vanity, because looking at her was like looking in a mirror at the female version of himself. The group became Vanity 6'3" Women, 6 Breasts, Prince's Twisted Arithmetic. Denise joined Brenda Bennett and Susan Moonsey, and together they recorded an album that Prince wrote, produced, and played every instrument on, crediting it to the Star Company to obscure his fingerprints. Vanity later admitted she hated the sexy image Prince crafted. She wanted to be Diana Ross. But Prince told her if she didn't perform in lingerie, she wouldn't get paid. So she lied and said it was what she wanted. She became Vanity, and Vanity became a prison. August 11th, 1982. The self-titled Vanity 6 album dropped. It hit number 45 on the Billboard 200, number 6 on the R&B charts, and eventually went gold. The second single, Nasty Girl, was released on September 24th and climbed to number 1 on the U.S. Hot Dance Club Play chart, number 7 on the R&B chart. The song was provocative, unapologetic, and everywhere featured in Beverly Hills Cop, Private, School, and Girl 6 years later. It made Vanity a sex symbol at a time when female artists weren't supposed to own their sexuality that loudly. Critics were scandalized. Vanity 6 toured with Prince and The Time on the 1999 Triple Threat Tour, performing while The Time played instruments hidden behind a curtain. It was spectacle. It was success. It was suffocating. Stories like these are why I built Legends Underrated. Make sure you're subscribed for more untold tales and tell me in the comments, where in the world are you watching from? On April 28, 1983, Vanity and Prince appeared on the cover of Rolling Stone magazine. Her hand slid down his pants, and the image set the world on fire. It was the pinnacle. It was also the beginning of the end. Months later, they broke up. Prince was making Purple Rain, and Vanity was supposed to be the lead, but they fought about money, about control, about drugs, about Prince's cheating with women in his own band. Vanity turned down the role, and Prince replaced her with Apollonia. He also changed Vanity 6 to Apollonia 6, erasing her as if she'd never existed. But Vanity wasn't done. She signed with Motown Records, and on November 10th, 1984, she released her debut solo album, Wild Animal. Pretty Mess hit number 15 on the Hot Black Singles chart. Mechanical Emotion reached number 23 on the R&B chart. In 1985, she starred in The Last Dragon, got the role because Timac told Berry Gordy he liked her. She dated him briefly. She posed for Playboy. She auditioned for The Color Purple, but Spielberg thought she looked too young. She was heartbroken. On May 24th, 1986, she released Skin on Skin, Under the Influence, hit number 6 on the dance charts. She starred in Never Too Young to Die with John Stamos and 52 Pickup with Roy Scheider. She was building a film career. She was also building a cocaine habit that would eventually try to kill her. In 1987, she got engaged to Mötley Crüe's Nikki Sixx. He described her in his memoir as a wild woman who taught him how to freebase cocaine. They fought constantly. She talked about Jesus, even when she was high. He said he loved cocaine more than he loved her. Once, he punched her so hard she was knocked out cold. The relationship imploded, as toxic things do. Vanity kept working, Deadly Illusion with Billy D. Williams, Miami Vice, The New Mike Hammer. In April 1988, she posed nude for Playboy a second time, admitting she only did it for the money. That same year, she starred in Action Jackson with Carl Weathers. Right after that film, she checked herself into rehab. But rehab can only work if you want it to. 1992. Vanity was working on a movie called Da Vinci's War when actor Sam J. Jones had a deep conversation with her about her life and invited her to his church to read the Bible. Something clicked. She became a born-again Christian. She dropped the name Vanity and started going by Denise Matthews again. She traveled the country, sharing her testimony in churches. She said she'd found peace. She said she'd found purpose. And then, in 1994, she relapsed. The overdose was catastrophic. She was hospitalized for 3 months with kidney failure, internal bleeding, blood clots on her brain, high blood pressure, blindness, a heart attack, and a stroke. Doctors said she had 3 days to live. She was on life support, hovering between this world and whatever comes next. And in that darkness, she later said, Jesus spoke to her. He offered her a second chance if she would walk away from the vanity lifestyle for good. She recovered, and this time, she meant it. She threw out thousands of tapes, every interview, every video, every artifact of the woman she used to be. She got rid of everything she'd accomplished as vanity, as if erasing the past could heal the damage it left behind. In late February 1995, while working as an evangelist in San Jose, she read about Anthony Smith, a defensive end for the Oakland Raiders, who was doing charity work with young kids. She said the Lord told her to minister to him. 3 days after they met, she proposed. They married in April at his home in Playa del Rey, California, after a 1-month whirlwind romance. Friends noticed red flags: his temper, his need for control, the way he grabbed her arm at a team breakfast and yanked her back into her seat. They argued about her habit of inviting homeless people into their home. The marriage ended in 1996. It was a blessing because in 1999, Anthony Smith murdered 2 brothers, Kevin and Ricky Nettles, kidnapping them from their car wash, torturing them, and shooting them. In 2001, he kidnapped and stabbed Dennis Henderson to death. In 2015, he was convicted of 3 counts of murder. In 2016, he was sentenced to 3 consecutive life terms without parole. Denise Matthews had escaped a serial killer by the grace of bad timing. This twist shocked the world, and if you never want to miss stories like this, subscribe to Legends Underrated today and tell me in the comments, where in the world are you watching from? In 1997, Denise underwent a kidney transplant. The damage from years of crack cocaine addiction had destroyed her kidneys beyond repair, and she spent the rest of her life on peritoneal dialysis 5 times a day, 20 minutes per session. She dedicated herself to evangelism, speaking at churches worldwide, leading Pure Hearts Ministries in Fremont, California. In her sermons, she apologized for her past, especially for Nasty Girl, which she called stupid, telling people not to listen to music like that anymore. In 2010, she self-published her autobiography, Blame It on Vanity: Hollywood, Hell, and Heaven, a raw account of her journey from sex symbol to servant of God. But her body was still paying the price for decisions made decades earlier. In 2015, she was diagnosed with sclerosing, encapsulating peritonitis, a severe inflammation of the small intestines, and a severely painful kidney condition. She set up a GoFundMe page to raise $50,000 for medical treatment. She raised $6,599. On February 15, 2016, Denise Matthews died of kidney failure at a hospital in Fremont, California. She was 57 years old. She left most of her estate to her church, with some going to her family. Her dying wish was to have her ashes scattered over the coast of Hawaii, with a celebration of her life, no tears, just joy for where she believed she was going. 2 months later, on April 21st, 2016, Prince died. He was also 57. They were both born in 1959. They both died in 2016. They were once the king and queen of pop's most provocative moment, and they left this world within weeks of each other, as if the universe insisted they remain connected even in death. There was supposed to be a biopic about Vanity's life, titled Nasty Girl, the Denise Matthews story, with Tasha Arnold as one of the executive producers. But like so many Hollywood promises, it faded into rumor and silence. So what do we make of Denise Matthews? Was she Vanity, the nasty girl who made the 80s sweat? Or was she Denise, the evangelist who found God in the wreckage of fame? The truth is, she was both, and neither. She was a woman who spent her whole life running from her father's fists, from poverty, from Prince's control, from her own reflection. She found success and lost herself. She found faith and lost her health. In the end, all that cocaine, all that fame, all that beauty couldn't save her from the consequences of choices made in desperation and darkness. Vanity is gone, Prince is gone, but the music remains. A reminder that some legends burn so bright they leave scars that never heal. What do you think? Can someone truly leave their past behind, or does it always find a way to collect what's old? Drop your thoughts below and keep digging into these untold stories with me here on Legends Underrated.